Before we dive into tonight's tale, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want more creepy stories that will keep you up at night. Alright, man, let me tell you about how this whole nightmare kicked off. Picture me, Derek Malone, 38 years old, sitting in the cab of this beat-up rig, trying to piece my life back together after 12 years locked up. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but let's just say prison wasn't kind to me. Manslaughter, self-defense, whatever you want to call it. Guy came at me with a knife in a bar parking lot, and I smashed his skull with a tire iron before he could gut me. Cops didn't see it my way, and that was that. 12 years later, I'm out, but I'm not really out, you know? I'm hollowed out like something sucked the life out of me and left the shell behind. This trucking gig, hauling unmarked crates through the ass end of the American Southwest, it's all I've got left. My last shot at proving I'm not just some screw-up ex-con. So there I am, first night on the job, still getting used to the hum of the engine and the way the desert stretches out forever under the stars. My parole officer, this chain-smoking dude named Eddie, set me up with the gig. Said it'd keep me out of trouble. He hands me off to this dispatcher, Vic, who's waiting for me at a truck stop outside Tucson. Vic's this wiry guy with a buzz cut and a face like he's been chewing gravel for breakfast. He reeks too, like rust and motor oil, the kind of smell that sticks to your clothes. "You're Malone, huh?" he says, sizing me up like I'm a stray dog he's not sure he wants to feed. His voice is all gravelly, like he's gargling rocks, and he's got this smirk that makes my skin crawl. He tosses me the keys to the rig, and I catch him midair. They're cold, heavier than they should be, and there's this sticky gunk on them, dark, brownish, like old motor oil or something worse. I wipe my hand on my jeans, but it smears, leaving a stain I can still feel hours later. "Keep your nose clean, Malone," Vic mutters, turning away to light a cigarette. "And don't ask what's in the crates. Ain't your business." He doesn't even look back as he shuffles off into the shadows of the lot, leaving me with this hulking beast of a truck. Paint chipped, tires bald, the whole thing groaning like it's as tired as I am. I climb into the cab, slam the door, and just sit there for a minute, letting the silence settle. The seat's torn, springs poking through, and the dashboard's covered in a layer of dust so thick I could write my name in it. I'm thinking, okay, Derek, you've hauled ass through worse than this. Just drive, get paid, stay out of jail. Simple, right? That's when I notice something wedged under the passenger seat. I lean over, grunting as my back pops. Prison mattresses don't do you any favors, and fish it out. It's a notebook, small enough to fit in my hand, but it feels wrong the second I touch it. The cover's this faded leather, cracked and peeling, and there's a dark stain across it, splotchy and uneven, like someone spilled something and didn't bother cleaning it up. I flip it open, and the pages crinkle under my fingers, yellowed, brittle, like they're about to turn to dust. The first few are blank, but then I hit the writing. It starts off neat, all loopy cursive like some old lady's grocery list, but as I keep flipping, it changes. The lines get jagged, messy, like whoever wrote it was shaking or scared shitless. And the ink, man, it's not black. It's this deep red, almost brown in places, and it looks wet, like it's still drying even though the pages feel ancient. I'm sitting there hunched over this creepy little book when the air in the cab shifts. It's subtle at first, just a chill creeping up my neck, but then it's like someone cranked the AC to Arctic levels. My breath fogs in front of me, little puffs hanging in the dim glow of the dashboard lights. I rub my hands together, trying to shake it off, when I hear it, a giggle. Soft, faint, like a kid messing around, but it's coming from the vents. I freeze, my fingers still gripping the notebook, and tilt my head toward the dashboard. The sound bounces around, tinny and warped, like it's traveling through the metal guts of the truck. "Hello," I say, my voice cracking a little, because what else am I gonna do? No answer, just that giggle again, sharper this time, like it's mocking me. I shake my head, muttering to myself, "Get it together, Derek. You're just tired." But my eyes drop back to the notebook, and that's when I read the first line. "Follow the rules, or the road takes you." My stomach twists, and I flip the page, half expecting it to be blank, but it's not. There's a list, scratched out in that same red ink, and it's pulsing, like it's alive, like it's got a heartbeat of its own. I lean closer, the cold sinking into my bones, and start reading. Here's what the notebook says, word for word in that freaky, pulsing red ink. Rule 1, never stop for hitchhikers between midnight and 3 a.m., no matter how they plead. Rule 2, if you see a white cross by the roadside, count exactly 17 trucks that pass, or it'll come for you. Rule 3, ignore any CB radio messages that mention the harvest, even if they know your name. Rule 4, always carry the red key from the glove compartment. It's your only way out. Rule 5, if you hear children laughing, turn off all lights immediately and hold your breath. Rule 6, do not look in the rearview mirror when the odometer reads 666.6 miles, ever. I sit back, the notebook still open in my lap, and let out a shaky laugh. What the hell is this, some kind of prank? I say out loud, mostly to hear my own voice over the hum of the engine. But that giggle echoes again, louder now, and the vents rattle like something's crawling through them. I slam the notebook shut and toss it onto the passenger seat, wiping my hands on my jeans again like I can get rid of the feeling of it. My heart's thudding, and I'm starting to think maybe Vic wasn't just some greasy dispatcher. Maybe he knew something about this rig, about this job, that he didn't bother telling me. I crank the key in the ignition, and the engine sputters to life, growling like an old dog that doesn't want to get up. The headlights cut through the dark, lighting up the cracked pavement of the truck stop, and I pull out onto the highway, the desert sprawling out ahead of me like a black ocean. The notebook's still sitting there, taunting me, and I can't shake the feeling that I've just stepped into something way bigger and way worse than I signed up for. The clock on the dash blinks 11:30 p.m., and I grip the wheel tighter, telling myself it's just a long night ahead. But deep down, man, I know it's more than that. This road's got teeth, and I'm already caught in its jaws. All right, so I'm cruising down this lonely highway, the desert night pressing in on all sides, and that damn notebook still sitting on the passenger seat like it's watching me. I've got the radio off, didn't even try turning it on after that giggle from the vents, and the only sound is the low rumble of the engine and the occasional thump of a rock kicking up under the tires. The clock's ticking closer to midnight, and I'm just trying to keep my head straight, Focus on the road, get through the night, cash the check. That's the plan. But then, out of nowhere, around 11:50 p.m. I see it, this white cross sticking up on the right side of the road, just past a busted mile marker. It's not one of those clean, painted crosses you see sometimes, the kind folks put up for a car wreck or something. No, this thing's rough, splintered, like someone hacked it together from old fence posts. And it's dripping, red streaks running down the wood, glistening in my headlights like fresh paint or something else. I slow down a bit, not stopping, just easing off the gas, and that's when I notice there's no wind. Not a breeze, not a whisper, but that cross is swaying back and forth, creaking loud enough I can hear it over the engine. My gut twists, and those rules from the notebook flash in my head. Rule 2, if you see a white cross by the roadside, count exactly 17 trucks that pass, or it'll come for you. All right, fine, I mutter to myself, my voice sounding too loud in the cab. 17 trucks. I can do that. I straighten up in the seat, wipe my sweaty palms on my jeans one at a time, and keep my eyes peeled. The first truck rolls by a minute later, this rusted-out semi with a cab that looks like it's been through a war zone. The paint's peeling off in strips, the windows are cracked, and the headlights flicker, dimming and brightening like the damn thing's blinking at me. I count it off in my head. 1. The second one's not far behind. Another wreck, this one with a busted grill and a trailer that rattles like it's full of scrap metal. 2. By the fifth truck, I'm starting to notice a pattern. They're all beat to hell. Cabs dented, windows shattered, headlights dying out like they're on their last breath. I'm gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles ache, counting out loud now. 6, 7, just to keep myself steady. The road's dead quiet except for the whoosh of each truck passing, and every time one goes by, I swear the air gets heavier, like something's pressing down on the cab. Around the 10th one, I catch a glimpse of the driver, or where the driver should be. The cab's dark, no silhouette, no nothing, just empty. 11, 12. My voice is shaking now, and my palms are slick with sweat. I wipe them again, one hand at a time, keeping the rig steady with the other. The 13th truck's headlights flicker out completely as it passes, and I hear this low, wheezing sound, like the engine's gasping for air. The 14th and 15th are worse, rusted hulks that look like they've been rotting in the desert for years, but somehow they're still moving. By the 16th, I'm barely breathing, my chest tight, and I'm whispering, "Come on, just one more, just one more." Then the 17th rolls up. It's slow, deliberate, like it knows I'm watching. The cab's this faded blue, streaked with grime, and the trailer's sagging like it's carrying something way too heavy. The windshield's smeared with these dark, wet handprints, bloody, no question about it, and as it creeps past, I see them twitch. The prints move, sliding across the glass like they're trying to wave at me. There's no driver, not even a shadow, just those damn hands smearing around. I choke out 17 and let out a breath I didn't know I was holding, my whole body slumping against the seat. I glance back at the cross in my side mirror, half expecting it to be gone, but it's still there. Only now it's leaning toward me, tilting like it's about to topple right into the road. The wood groans, a deep, splintering creak that I feel in my teeth, and the ground under the rig starts to shake. Not like an earthquake, more like something's waking up underneath, something big and pissed off. The steering wheel jolts in my hands, and I stomp the gas, muttering, "Nope, not sticking around for this shit." The engine roars, the rig lurches forward, and I peel out of there, the cross shrinking in the mirror as the trembling fades. I'm catching my breath, heart hammering against my ribs, when I check the clock. 11:55 p.m. now, just shy of midnight. My hands are still shaky, and I fumble for a cigarette from the pack in my jacket pocket, lighting it with a trembling match. The smoke burns my throat, but it steadies me a little, curling up toward the ceiling of the cab. "What the hell was that?" I say to no one, blowing out a long stream of smoke. The notebook's still there, quiet now, but I'm not dumb enough to think it's done with me. I take another drag, the orange glow of the cigarette the only warm thing in this damn truck, and keep my eyes locked on the road ahead, waiting for whatever's next. All right, so I'm still shaking off that whole deal with the white cross and those creepy-ass trucks, right? The cigarette's down to a stub now, and I flick it out the window, watching the little spark bounce off the asphalt and disappear into the dark. The clock's ticking past midnight, 12:30 a.m. hits, and I'm just trying to settle back into the rhythm of the drive. The road's been quiet since I gunned it away from that cross, just the steady hum of the engine and the occasional flash of a mile marker catching my headlights. I'm thinking maybe I dodged the worst of it, you know? Maybe the rest of the night'll just be me, the rig, and this endless stretch of desert highway. But then, out of nowhere, the road starts to feel off. I can't explain it at first. It's like the lines on the pavement are stretching out longer than they should, like the whole damn highway's pulling itself apart. I blink hard, rub my eyes with the back of my hand, but it's not my imagination. The distance between those yellow dashes keeps growing, and the horizon's getting farther away no matter how fast I push the rig. I glance at the speedometer. 65 miles an hour, steady as hell, but it feels like I'm barely moving. My foot's heavy on the gas, the engine growling louder now, but the road just keeps unspooling, infinite and black. I mutter, "Come on, man, what's this bullshit?" and lean forward, squinting out the windshield. That's when I notice the telephone poles lining the sides. They're old, weathered things, the kind you barely register on a drive like this, but now they're bending. Not just leaning from age or wind, no, they're curving inward, the tops twisting into these jagged claw-like shapes that rake at the sky. The wood's splintered, peeling, and in the dim glow of my lights, they look alive, like they're reaching for something. For me, maybe. I shake my head, trying to laugh it off. "You're losing it, Derek," I say out loud, my voice rough from the smoke and the nerves. "Too many late nights, that's all." But then this billboard looms up ahead, one of those big, rusted frames you see advertising gas stations or cheap motels out here. At first, it's just some faded car ad, red Chevy pickup, smiling family, the usual crap. I barely give it a second glance, figuring it's a nice little slice of normal after that cross nonsense. Except it doesn't stay normal. I'm maybe 100 yards out when the thing flickers, like an old TV losing signal, and the picture changes. The Chevy's gone, the family's gone, and now there's this kid's face staring down at me. Pale, waxy skin, eyes stitched shut with thick black thread that's all uneven, like someone did it in a hurry. The mouth's worse, gaping open, too wide, lined with these jagged teeth that look like they're coated in tar, black and dripping. I freeze, my hands locking up on the wheel. What the hell? I breathe, and that's when it happens. The damn face blinks. Those sewn-up eyes snap open for a split second, just long enough for me to see there's nothing behind them, just empty, dark holes. Then they're shut again, thread pulling tight, and I swear the mouth stretches wider like it's grinning at me. My stomach lurches, and I slam on the brakes without even thinking, the rig shuddering as the tires squeal against the asphalt. The trailer jerks behind me, a loud thunk echoing through the cab, but I don't care. I'm staring up at that billboard, heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. And then I hear it. This wet, gurgling sound, like someone's choking on water or blood or God knows what, starts up, loud and close. It's not coming from the billboard, though. It's outside the cab, just beyond the windows, circling the rig. I whip my head around, trying to spot something, anything, in the dark. But there's nothing but shadows and those damn claw-shaped poles. The sound gets louder, raspier, like whatever's making it is right up against the glass. I roll up the window fast, cranking the handle so hard it jams for a second, and lock the door, even though I know that's not gonna do shit if something's really out there. Get a grip, man, I tell myself, my voice shaking as I fumble for another cigarette. My hands are trembling so bad I drop the pack twice before I get one out, and the match flares up with a hiss, lighting up the cab for a second. I take a deep drag, the smoke stinging my lungs, and glance back at the billboard. It's blank now, just rusted metal and peeling paint, like nothing ever happened. But that gurgling's still there, softer now, fading into the distance as I sit there, frozen, staring out into the night. I toss the notebook a quick look. It's still on the seat, quiet as ever, no rules popping up to explain this one. Figures, I mutter, exhaling smoke through my nose. Guess you're not going to hold my hand through every damn thing. The clock's at 12:35 a.m. now, and I ease my foot back onto the gas, the rig rolling forward again. The road's still stretching weirdly, those poles still clawing at the sky, but I'm not stopping. Whatever that was, I'm not sticking around to find out if it's got friends. The clock's creeping toward 1:17 a.m., and the desert's this endless void outside, nothing but sand and scrub lit up by my headlights, those claw-shaped telephone poles fading into the distance. I'm starting to think maybe I've shaken off the worst of it, you know? Like maybe the night's gonna cut me a break. Famous last words, right? Then it hits, out of nowhere, this high-pitched, splintered laugh breaks through the hum of the engine. It's kids, no doubt about it, but not the kind you'd hear at a playground. It's sharp, jagged, like glass shattering in slow motion, and it's coming from the trailer behind me. I jerk upright in the seat, my spine going rigid, and twist my head toward the back of the cab like I can see through the metal. What the? I start, but the sound swells, bouncing around like there's a dozen little voices giggling in there, overlapping and shrill. My skin prickles, and those damn rules from the notebook slam into my head like a freight train. Rule 5. If you hear children laughing, turn off all lights immediately and hold your breath. Shit, 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 I hiss under my breath, fumbling for the headlight switch. My fingers slip on the knob, sweat's making everything slick, and I curse again, louder this time, before I finally twist it off. The cab plunges into darkness. Just the faint glow of the dashboard left, and the highway ahead vanishes, swallowed by the night. I slam my foot on the brake, not caring how the rig screeches to a stop, the trailer swaying hard enough to rock the whole damn thing. Then I hold my breath, lungs locked tight, chest already starting to ache, and wait, eyes darting around the pitch-black cab. That's when I hear it. Footsteps. Small, pattering steps, like bare feet slapping against the metal siding of the rig. They're quick at first, skittering along the trailer toward the cab, but then they slow, dragging something heavy that scrapes and thumps with every move. I'm frozen, staring at the side window, my breath still trapped, and the air in the cab gets thick, damp, like someone's breathing right next to me. The windows start fogging up, first just a haze, then full-on clouds of condensation spreading across the glass. I squint, trying to make out anything in the dark, and that's when I see them. Tiny handprints pressing against the passenger side window. They're small, kid-sized, but wrong. Fingers too long, smudging the fog as they slide downward with this high squealing sound, like nails on a chalkboard dialed up to 11. It digs into my skull, sharp and relentless, and I clench my jaw so hard my teeth ache, fighting the urge to gasp. More prints pop up, 2, 3, 4, smearing down the glass, leaving wet streaks that glisten in the dashboard's faint green light. The footsteps keep coming, circling now, thumping along the driver's side, and that dragging sound gets louder, heavier, like whatever they're hauling is right outside my door. My lungs are screaming, burning like I've been underwater too long, but I don't dare let go. The laughter's still there, softer now, weaving through the pattering feet, and it's mocking me. I can feel it. I squeeze my eyes shut for a second, just trying to block it all out, but when I open them, there's a new print, right in front of me, dead center on the windshield. It's bigger than the others, palm flat, fingers splayed, and it doesn't move. Just sits there, fog curling around it like it's waiting for something. My vision's starting to blur, black spots dancing at the edges, and I'm thinking, I can't hold this much longer. I can't. Then it stops. The laughter cuts off like someone flipped a switch. The footsteps fade, and that dragging sound trails away into nothing. The handprints are still there, smeared and dripping, but the squealing's gone, and the air lightens up, dry again. I let out a ragged gasp, sucking in air so fast I choke on it, coughing hard as I slump back in the seat. My chest's heaving, my hands shaking as I wipe the sweat off my face, and I mutter, Jesus Christ, what was that? To no one but the empty cab. I flick the headlights back on, half expecting to see something, someone, standing in the road, but it's just the highway stretching out, quiet and still. The clock says 1:20 a.m. now, and I'm sitting there, catching my breath, when I glance at the notebook. It's still closed, but I'm not touching it, not yet. Whatever those kids were, whatever they were dragging, I followed the rule and I'm still here. That's gotta count for something, right? I crank the engine back up, the rumble steadying my nerves a little, and ease the rig forward, keeping one eye on the windows just in case those prints start moving again. It's pushing 2 a.m. now, and I'm just trying to focus on the road, you know? The hum of the engine's steady, the dashboard clock's glowing that sickly green, and I'm telling myself, just keep driving, Derek. Whatever that was, it's done. But this night's got a way of proving me wrong every damn time. I'm maybe 10 minutes past that whole handprint fiasco when the highway starts acting up again. At first, it's just a rumble, low, deep, like thunder rolling in from miles away. I glance out the window, expecting storm clouds or something, but the sky's clear, stars sharp as needles up there. The rumble gets louder, closer, and then I feel it. The steering wheel's vibrating in my hands, the whole rig shaking like it's caught in a windstorm. Come on, not again, I groan, leaning forward to peer through the windshield, my knuckles white on the wheel. That's when the road ahead splits open, right down the middle like some giant clawed its way up from below. The asphalt cracks apart with this sickening snap, jagged edges peeling back to show teeth. I'm not kidding, man, teeth, lining the gap like a mouth, all crooked and sharp, made of what looks like shattered bone, gleaming white in my lights. The hole's wide, stretching across both lanes, and it's pulsing, flexing like it's alive. I slam on the brakes, but the rig's got too much momentum, sliding toward it with a screech of rubber I can feel in my bones. Shit! I yell, yanking the wheel hard to the right. The tires scream, the trailer fishtailing behind me, and I'm thrown against the door, my shoulders slamming into the glass. The rig swerves, skidding along the edge of that maw, and I catch a glimpse down into it. Black, endless, with those bone teeth gnashing like they're hungry. I stomp the gas, praying the tires catch, and they do, just barely. The rig lurches forward, scraping past the split, and I hear this wet, grinding crunch as it snaps shut behind me, the sound echoing through the cab like a gunshot. I'm breathing hard, chest heaving, when something slams into the windshield. Hard. It's an arm, a severed freaking arm, pale and bloody, smacking the glass right in front of my face. The fingers twitch, curling slow and deliberate, like it's beckoning me to turn around, to go back to that thing in the road. Blood smears across the windshield, thick and dark, and I flinch. jerking the wheel again, even though I'm already clear. "Get off!" I shout, hitting the wipers on instinct. They smear the mess around, the blades whining as they drag through the gore, and the arm slides off to the side, thumping somewhere under the rig. I keep driving, foot heavy on the gas, but the cab fills with this stench, rotting meat, sour and thick, like a butcher shop gone bad. It's so strong I gag, clapping a hand over my mouth and nose, my eyes watering. What the hell is this? I choke out, cracking the window just enough to suck in a breath of desert air. It doesn't help much. The smell's stuck to everything, seeping into the seats, the dashboard, my damn clothes. I glance at the rear view, half expecting to see that mouth in the road still chasing me, but it's just highway again, smooth and quiet like nothing happened. My hands are shaking as I fumble for a rag under the seat, some greasy old thing I found earlier, and wipe at the windshield from the inside, smearing the blood that's trickled through the seals. It's no use, the glass is a mess, and that smell's not going anywhere. I toss the rag aside, muttering, "Screw this job, screw Vic, screw all of it," and light another cigarette just to mask the stink. The smoke mixes with it, making this nasty, ashy rot taste in my mouth, but it's better than nothing. The clock's at 2:05 a.m. now, and I'm still rolling, the road stretching out like it's daring me to keep going. I sneak a look at the notebook, still shut, no glowing rules to bail me out this time. "Yeah, real helpful," I grumble, blowing smoke at it like that'll wake it up. The arm's gone, the road's closed up, but that stench lingers, clinging to me like a bad memory. I'm starting to wonder what's next, because out here, there's always a next. All right, so I'm still hauling ass down this nightmare of a highway, the stink of rotting meat still hanging heavy in the cab even with the window cracked. It's 2:45 a.m. now, and I'm running on fumes, mentally, I mean. The rig's got plenty of gas, but me, I'm fraying at the edges, chain smoking just to keep my hands busy. The road's been quiet since that arm hit the windshield, just the steady thrum of the tires on asphalt and the occasional flicker of my headlights catching a tumbleweed rolling by. I'm thinking maybe I've earned a breather, you know? Maybe the worst is behind me. Yeah, I should have known better by now. I'm mid-drag on my cigarette, the ember glowing red in the dark when the CB radio sparks to life. It's been dead silent all night, not a peep, not even static, so the sudden crackle makes me jump, the cigarette slipping from my fingers and bouncing off my knee. I curse, brushing the ash off my jeans and lean toward the radio, squinting at the little green light blinking on the dash. Then I hear it. "Derek, the harvest is ready. Join us." My name, clear as day, spoken in this soft, familiar voice that hits me like a punch to the gut. It's my mom's voice, man. My dead mom, gone since I was 19, cancer eating her up slow until she was just a husk in a hospital bed. That voice, warm, a little raspy from years of Pall Malls, there's no mistaking it. I freeze, staring at the radio like it's gonna sprout legs and crawl toward me. My hands start shaking, bad, and the cigarette's smoldering on the floor mat now, but I don't even care. Those rules from the notebook flood back. Rule 3. Ignore any CB radio messages that mention the harvest, even if they know your name. Okay, I whisper to myself, voice barely audible over the static. Just ignore it. It's not her. It's not real. But it's hard, man. Harder than I thought it'd be. That voice keeps going, soft and coaxing. "Derek, honey, we're waiting. The harvest needs you. Come on now." I clench my fists, nails digging into my palms, and force myself to look away, locking my eyes on the road. The static's getting louder though, buzzing and popping like a swarm of flies, and it's not just her voice anymore. It's building into something else, a chorus of screams, high and raw, layering over each other until it's this wall of sound hammering at my skull. I slap the radio's power button, jabbing it with my thumb, but it doesn't stop. The damn thing's off, screen dark, but the screams keep pouring out, louder, angrier, like they're pissed I'm not answering. "Shut up!" I yell, slamming my fist into the dash. Pain shoots up my arm, but it's nothing compared to the noise clawing at me. That's when I notice it. The dashboard's bleeding. Red seeps out from the seams, slow at first, like sweat beating up, then trickling faster, dripping down onto my lap. It's warm, sticky, soaking through my jeans, and I gag, shoving myself back against the seat. "What the hell?" I start, but the words choke off as the blood pools, spreading across my thighs, the metallic tang hitting my nose over the rot still lingering from earlier. I grab the rag from the floor, still crusty with windshield gore, and swipe at it, smearing the red mess around, but it just keeps coming. The screams are deafening now, rattling the windows, and I'm shouting back, "I'm not listening. I'm not joining shit." My voice cracks, desperate, and I toss the rag aside, gripping the wheel with both hands to keep the rig steady. The blood's dripping onto the floor now, splattering with little wet plops and the cigarette sizzling out in it, sending up this thin wisp of smoke that stinks like burnt flesh. I'm shaking so bad I can barely steer, my legs slick with the stuff, and that voice, Mom's voice, cuts through the screams one last time. "You can't run forever, Derek." Then it's gone. The static dies, the screams fade, and the radio falls silent, just a dead hunk of plastic again. The bleeding stops too, the last few drops rolling down the dash and drying into dark streaks. I'm left there, panting, staring at the road, my lap a warm, sticky mess I don't even want to look at. I fumble for another cigarette with trembling fingers, lighting it with a match that takes 3 tries to strike. The first drag burns my throat, but it's something normal, something real. "Screw you, Harvest," I mutter, blowing smoke out the window. The clock's at 2:50 a.m., and I'm still rolling, the night stretching out ahead like a trap I can't escape. So here I am, still trucking along after that radio nightmare, the taste of smoke and blood stuck in my mouth like a bad hangover. It's 3:30 a.m. now, and I'm beat. Every muscle's screaming, my eyes are gritty, and the cab still reeks of rot and that metallic tang from the dashboard mess. I've got my last cigarette clamped between my lips, half gone already, and I'm just trying to keep it together, you know? The road's been quiet for a bit, too quiet, honestly, and I'm starting to feel like I'm driving in circles. Even though the mile markers keep ticking up, I'm telling myself, just a couple more hours, Derek. Dawn's got to come eventually, but this night's got other plans. I shift in the seat, trying to stretch my legs a little, when this sharp, burning pain flares up in my thigh. It's sudden, hot, like someone's jammed a lit match against my skin. I yelp, swatting at my jeans, thinking maybe an ember from the cigarette fell, but there's nothing there, just this searing heat coming from my pocket. The red key, that weird thing from the glove compartment, the one Rule 4 said to always carry. It's going nuts. I dig my hand in, hissing as my fingers brush it, and yank it out fast. The damn thing's glowing, pulsing like a heartbeat, and it's hot, man. Hot enough I nearly drop it. The edges are slick, coated in blood that's fresh and wet, but it's not mine. I'd know if I was bleeding, and I'm not. "What the hell are you?" I mutter, holding it up in the dim light of the cab. It's heavier than before, alive almost, throbbing in my palm, and that blood's dripping onto my jeans, mixing with the dried mess from earlier. I'm staring at it, half mesmerized, when the notebook on the passenger seat flops open on its own, like someone invisible just gave it a nudge. The pages rustle, flipping fast, and land on one I haven't seen before. It's tucked near the back, the paper even yellower than the rest, crinkled like it's been crumpled and smoothed out 100 times. The writing's in that same red ink, but neater now, deliberate. The Crimson Route doesn't deliver cargo, it delivers you. I read it once, then again, my voice barely a whisper as I sounded out. Delivers me? What's that supposed to? I stop, the words sinking in like a brick to the chest. My eyes dart to the trailer behind me, those unmarked crates I've been hauling all night. I never asked what was in them, Vic said not to, and I didn't care enough to push. But now I'm picturing them different. Not boxes of auto parts or whatever I told myself they were. Coffins. Long, narrow, stacked tight. Coffins. My stomach twists and I grip the key tighter, the heat of it grounding me even as my head spins. I lean back, exhaling smoke slow and shaky, and that's when it clicks. The highway. It's not just a road. It's alive, man, a living, breathing thing that's been playing with me this whole time. The cross, the kids, the radio, that damn mouth in the asphalt. It's all part of it. A predator, picking drivers like me, guys desperate enough to take a sketchy gig and not ask questions. I think back to Vic, his rusty smell, that sticky key he handed me, and I wonder if he knew. If he's part of this, feeding the root fresh meat. The rules, though, they're the real kicker. I thought they were keeping me safe, you know? Like a cheat sheet to survive this hell. But staring at that page, the truth hits me hard. They're not a shield. They're bait. Every time I followed one, counting those trucks, holding my breath, ignoring the radio, it wasn't saving me. It was stretching this out, keeping me in the game longer, letting the highway toy with me until it's ready to swallow me whole. The key pulses again, and I swear it's syncing with my heartbeat now, like it's part of me. I toss it onto the dash, wiping my bloody hand on my shirt, and mutter, "You son of a bitch." The cab feels smaller now, the walls closing in, and the road ahead looks darker, hungrier. I flick my cigarette butt out the window, watching it spark and die on the pavement, and grip the wheel with both hands. "All right, you bastard," I say, louder this time, talking to the highway like it can hear me. "You want me? Come get me." The engine growls as I push the gas, but deep down, I know I'm not driving away from this. I'm driving deeper in. It's past 3:30 a.m. now, and I'm wired. Nerves frayed, hands sweaty on the wheel, the red key still pulsing on the dash like a damn heartbeat. The cab's a mess, blood stains, cigarette ash, that lingering rot stench, and I'm just trying to keep my eyes on the road, telling myself maybe I can outrun this thing, whatever it is. The odometer's ticking up, 665.8 miles, 665.9, and I'm hyper aware of it, that Rule 6 nagging at me. Do not look in the rearview mirror when the odometer reads 666.6 miles. Ever. I'm muttering to myself, "Just don't look, Derek, keep it together," when this sound starts up from the trailer. It's laughter again, sharp, wild, like those kids from earlier, but it's shifting, warping into something else. My voice. My own damn voice, screaming, "Help me, Derek," over and over, desperate and ragged, like I'm trapped back there, dying. My heart slams against my ribs, and I grip the wheel tighter, whispering, "It's not real, but it's loud, man, loud enough to drown out the engine, echoing inside my skull." I fight it for a second, teeth clenched, staring straight ahead, but the screams get worse. Pleading now, "Derek, please help me," and I can't take it. I snap. "Fine," I yell, twisting my head to glance in the rearview mirror, just as the odometer clicks to 666.6. Big mistake. It's not my reflection staring back, it's a whole damn highway stretching out behind me, endless and black, lined with trucks. Dozens of them, rolling slow, and every single one's got me in the driver's seat. Me, but not me. Corpses, all decayed versions of myself, skin peeling off in strips, faces melting into shadow, eyes hollowed out and weeping blood that runs down their cheeks like tears. I choke on a yell, jerking my eyes away, but the image burns into my brain. There's one with half his jaw gone, another with his chest caved in, ribs poking through like broken twigs, and they're all staring, right at me, through me. The cab starts shaking, violent and sudden, like something's ramming it from behind. The trailer slams into the back, a deafening bang that jolts me forward, my forehead smacking the steering wheel. "Shit!" I shout, blood trickling warm down my face, and I fumble for the key on the dash, snatching it up. It twists in my hand, on its own, like it's alive, hot and slick, and I feel this click deep in my bones, like it just unlocked something I can't see. The road ahead vanishes, poof, gone, swallowed by this thick, inky black that presses against the windshield. No headlights, no horizon, just nothing. The cab's still rattling, the wheel bucking under my hands, and I stomp the brakes, but it's useless. The rig's moving anyway, dragged forward by whatever I just set loose. I'm yelling now, full-on panic. "What did you do? What the hell did you do?" Screaming at the key, the notebook, the damn truck, anything that'll listen. My voice, those screams from the trailer, they're still echoing, mixing with the corpses in the mirror I can't unsee. I slam my fist against the dash, pain shooting up my arm, and the keys burning hotter, searing my palm, but I can't let go. It's stuck, fused to my skin like it's part of me now. The shaking stops, sudden and eerie, and the cab goes dead quiet, just my ragged breathing filling the space. I risk another glance at the mirror, stupid I know, and it's worse. The trucks are closer, those dead me's grinning now, mouths stretched wide, blood dripping faster. The rig lurches again, and I'm thinking, this is it. This is how it ends. The black outside thickens, pressing in, and I'm trapped, caught in whatever trap I just sprung by, breaking that damn rule. So, I'm sitting there in the cab, the black swallowing everything after that mirror screw up, and I'm just waiting. For what? I don't know. The rig's still, engine dead, and the keys burned into my hand like a brand, throbbing with every beat of my heart. I'm wiped out, man, sweat-soaked, bleeding from where I hit the wheel, my voice hoarse from yelling. The clock's stuck at some ungodly hour, and I'm thinking dawn's gotta be close, right? Sun's gotta come up, burn this nightmare away. I lean my head back, closing my eyes for a second, whispering, "Come on, just give me light like it's a prayer." But when I open them, there's no sun. No pink streaks, no nothing, just this gray, heavy haze pressing down. The rig's not moving anymore, and I realize we've stopped, parked in the middle of this massive empty lot. Concrete sprawls out in every direction, cracked and buckled like it's been abandoned for years, weeds poking through the gaps. The air's thick, heavy with this sharp iron stench, like blood, fresh and raw, choking me as I breathe it in. I blink, trying to get my bearings, and mutter, "Where the hell am I?" My voice sounds small, swallowed up by the silence. Then it happens, a loud bang from behind, metal screeching as the trailer doors blast open. I twist in the seat, heart jackhammering, and see him. Shadows spilling out, dozens of them, shambling toward the cab. It's me, over and over, these twisted, rotting versions of myself, just like in the mirror. Flesh hangs off them in wet, dripping clumps, sliding to the ground with sickening plops. One's got an arm dangling by a thread of skin, another's face is half gone, just a grinning skull with eyes rolling loose in the sockets. They're coming fast, dragging themselves forward, and I'm frozen, staring, my brain screaming. "Move, Derek, move." I fumble for the door handle, hands slick with sweat and blood, but before I can yank it, they're on me. The driver's side door rips open. Cold, boneless hands grab my arms, my legs, pulling me out like I weigh nothing. I'm yelling, thrashing, "Get off me! Let go!" But it's useless. They're strong, way stronger than they look, and their grip's like ice, sinking into my skin. I hit the concrete hard, knees cracking against it, and they swarm me, dragging me toward the trailer. My boots scrape the ground, kicking up dust, and I feel it. My skin softening, going doughy under their touch, my bones bending like rubber. "No," I scream, clawing at the pavement, nails splitting as I try to hold on. One of them, me with a melted face, leans close, breath stinking of decay, and I see the red key back in my palm, fused there, metal melded into flesh, pulsing red hot. I can't drop it, can't shake it, and it's burning, spreading heat up my arm. The notebook's on the ground now, must have fallen when they yanked me, and it's open, the final page glowing this faint, sickly light. Words scrawl across it in that red ink. "Welcome to the harvest." I'm gasping, fighting to breathe. When it hits me, I'm not just caught. I'm changing. My screams aren't coming from my throat anymore. They're rising from the ground, vibrating through the concrete, echoing in the asphalt. I feel it spreading, my body sinking, melting into the lot, the highway, becoming part of it. Those shadow me's fade, their job done, and I'm alone. But not alone. I'm the road now, stretched out endless, my voice a low, hungry wail calling out, waiting for the next poor bastard to take the wheel. I try to fight it one last time, clawing at what's left of my mind, but it's slipping, fading into the black. "Somebody, help," I whisper, but it's not me talking anymore. It's the Crimson Route, using my voice, my screams, to lure the next driver in. The key's still there, part of me, part of it, and the lot's quiet again, waiting. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.